All right, so it looks like we're live here. So you've got to refresh, I think, to make sure that we are live on there, and check to make sure that we can see the audio and all that good stuff. A little bit of AV check that we have to do. For those of you that are live, or for those of you that are on Periscope, on Facebook Live, type in whatever comments you have. If you have questions, I don't know that I'll be able to address them as I'm going through this whole thing, but so we're good over there? All right, perfect. So welcome to all of you, however you're watching this, if you're watching it live on the broadcast or if you are watching the video. My name is Sean Smith. I am the Caddie Coach in the Mary Kay world. And the situation that you're all in is it's after seminar. So many of you just came back from seminar. You had a fantastic experience, or you had some experience. Whether it was fantastic or not is up to you, and probably whether you were on stage or whether you showed up already having gotten your goals or what have you. So you either are coming back from seminar or it's just after seminar in the Mary Kay world. And either one, you know, here we are, it's the second month into the new year, right? It's the beginning of the second month. Hang on one sec, let me get this off of my screen. That automated calendar thing that like hijacks your screen when you have an appointment. So it's the beginning of the second month of the new seminar year. And I've been coaching and training in the Mary Kay world for over 10 years now. I have learned some of the patterns and rhythms that happen around seminar. You know, most people at the end of June just push till exhaustion. They have to take the first couple of weeks off in July, basically just for the body to recover. And then you go to seminar and you get all excited, motivated and all of that. And then you come back and you're in an interesting space, right? You're a little emotionally drunk. If you actually went to the seminar convention, you have high hopes, you have high dreams, you're in that place of this is going to be the year. You know, you've still got 11 months left of this new year to attack and achieve all of the goals that you made for yourself. So it's just an interesting time, and there's nothing bad about anything that I said. I want you to experience those events. You've got to get emotionally drunk in life in general if you're going to achieve any of your goals and dreams. You just have to know that when you're emotionally drunk, like your body does certain things. You think of certain things that you don't think of during other periods of the year or when you're in different mindsets, etc. So this is an important time for you to sort of know what's going on, for you to take a little bit of inventory, and for you to set your year up the right way going forward. Because what happens is a lot of people are just driven by motivation right now. They're just driven by willpower, right? They're excited because of the experience that they just had at the live seminar, or because of other people's experience they're watching on Facebook. You know, just the new year mindset where everybody basically says, okay, this is a new year and this year is going to be different. And all of that is fine to have, you know, the willpower and to have the high level of emotion, etc. But none of it will matter unless you turn that motivation into something that's going to create fundamental and foundational success. Because motivation won't last. It's not going to last over the next 11 months. It's probably not going to last over the next 11 days, right? Because it's short-lived, this motivation of this is what I'm going to do in the future. And this is a human problem and it's a challenge. So it doesn't have anything negative to say about Mary Kay or anything like that. Hang on one sec. Ola, my battery is about to die. I got 20% on my phone. Can you find Mophie in there and then plug this up? We've got a little AV challenge here. I don't want my phone to die as we're broadcasting live. Oh, there you go. You just plug it into your computer. So I want you to do what needs to be done in order to create foundational success, in order to take the motivation and actually turn it into something that you can use. And so with this space that you're in, you know, you come back and maybe you're not even thinking about now what, because you might feel like you know what that now what is, right? You just got to work on, you just got to work on skincare classes, and you've got to work on warm chat, and you've got to work on all of the activities, you know, that you need to work on. But that's not going to work. It's not going to, you just can't, you can't motivate yourself into your goals, right? You can only act your way into your goals. And so in order to do that, we have to have the focus in the right place. And so your focus in this time frame for you has to be on basically just one thing. Your focus has to be on habits. If you take your motivation and you just try to make more phone calls right now while you are at a high level of determination, and they don't turn into habits, then the best you can do is run for a certain period of time, but it will come crashing down. As soon as your motivation goes away, or as soon as you get people that challenge you or people that reject you enough, you know, if your willpower is being driven only by motivation, then as soon as that motivation is gone, now you have no more fuel to continue driving your activities, right? So that's why motivation is very dangerous. It's great to get you going. It's great to like have you sort of check in with yourself and say, what is it that I'm doing with my life, and make the determined choices that we all have to make. You know, we all have to kind of draw a line in the sand at some point in time and say, enough is enough, and I'm not going to continue this any longer. We all need those moments, and motivation is great for those moments. It's great for the realizations, for the ahas, for the, you know, the decisions that we make, but you can't create success by making a decision, because a decision is just a one-time event, right? Like motivation is pretty much a one-time event. Now it might last a long time, or at least an extended period of time, but it still operates like a one-time event. Once that motivation is gone, now your drive is gone. So what you've got to do right now in this time is make sure that you turn your motivation into habits. Because if they don't make their way into habits, if the motivation doesn't make its way into habits that are intentionally created and personalized for you, that's a big key distinction here. I don't want you to just take somebody else's habits that you saw on stage at seminar, or that you heard from somebody at your success meeting or in your national area or whatever. I don't want you to just grab somebody else's habits and say, okay, well, these are going to be mine, right? Now, I want you to learn from the recipes that work, but don't just copy the recipes. You can't just take somebody else who has a different set of circumstances in their lives and say, okay, I'm going to do exactly what they did, right? That's a huge mistake that a lot of people make. So I don't want you to just adopt your habits. I want you to pick and choose. See which habits from somebody's recipe would work for you, and which habits from somebody else's recipe would work for you, and which habits won't work for you. That's another key piece. Just because somebody created success doing it a certain way doesn't mean you've got to do it that way. So you've got to create a personalized game plan based on your unique personality, based on your skill set, based on your desires, your strengths, your weaknesses. All of that stuff has to come together to create a personalized game plan for you. And then the goal is, how do we make it a habit? So for those of you that have been in any of our recent programs in the Mary Kay world, if you watched some of the videos, you've probably heard me say that you don't know something until it is a habit. Like, you don't know any amount of knowledge or intellectual understanding until it lives in your cells, until it lives as a habit. That's when you can say, oh, I know that. Because a lot of you, and this is just based on my experience of doing a bunch of programs and private coaching, a lot of you are saying, I know that I need to focus on these activities, or I know that I need to come from more of a heart space, or I know that when I talk to people, I need to be more enthusiastic. Like, most of you know what you need to do, but if you're not doing it, then you might as well not even know it, right? If you're not doing something, if it hasn't become a habit for you, then it's really just taking up space in your minds. So success is not about collecting intellectual understanding. It's about implementing something that you've learned. And I would rather you learn one thing and implement it, make a habit around it, than to collect 20 things, whether it's from seminar or from CDs that you're listening to, or from your national, or from your director, or from anybody else. Doesn't matter what the source is. I would rather you take one thing and implement it into a habit than to learn 20 things from a bunch of different sources and just have it stay here in the collection of intellect, right? And that one thing implemented could change your life more than 20 things understood. So that's how I want you to really filter your knowledge. And that's what I want you to focus on going into the new year. So you have all these goals going into the new year. I want you to think, what habits do I need to create? What habits do I have to intentionally set boundaries around in order to, I'm going to use a word that's not exactly true, but in order to guarantee those results. That's the way I want you to think about it. Now, you're in a people business, so there's really no way to guarantee anything. But if you reverse engineer, you say, okay, these are my goals. What habits will lead to those goals almost guaranteed? And that's what you now focus on. How can I create those habits? How can I create habits that every single day I do? And it doesn't require this high level of motivation to do it because I've got all this resistance around it, right? When you create new habits, they have to be simple. They have to be digestible. You can't create 7, 10 habits all at once. You've got to just slowly but intentionally and effectively implement new habits so that they become foundational, right? That's the key thing. They become foundational. A lot of my coaching clients will get excited. They'll go out and make like 20 phone calls in one day, and then the next day they're exhausted or they didn't have a good experience with that, so then they don't do the calls the next day. And then they don't do the calls the second day, right? And now we have a new habit. We had a one-day habit called making phone calls. Now we have a 2-day habit called not making phone calls. So even when you're not doing the activities, you're creating a habit around not doing the activities. That's why this stuff is so dangerous. And you know that we are creatures of habit. Your unconscious mind thrives on habits. It craves habits. It wants to know that there's going to be some consistency. So I would actually rather you make 4 phone calls 5 days in a row than 20 phone calls one day and then 4 days of no phone calls, right? So for the rest of this year, starting today, don't wait until March of next year where now you only have 3 or 4 months left to try to overcome all of the habits that you didn't create in the first, 7 or 8 months or 9 months or what have you. I don't want you to wait till then. I want you to start today. What habits do you have to put in place in order to basically guarantee or mandate the success that you're looking for? Because here's what I know about habits. You cannot outperform poor habits. Your willpower will not create better results than your habits are designed to create. It's much like a recipe. If you follow a recipe, if you're trying to bake a chocolate cake, your recipe better lead to a chocolate cake. If you're following another recipe, you can think as hard as you want about the cake and how good it's going to taste and how much you really want a cake. If the recipe doesn't lead to a chocolate cake, you're going to be disappointed. And I want you to think about your achievement that same way. I want you to set up your habits so that your success cannot be denied if you follow the right habits. Now, what I know to be true is probably, I'd say 98 to 99% of consultants and directors in Mary Kay have a set of goals that are, intentionally created, and they want these goals really bad, but they have habits that are so woefully short of what needs to happen in order to create those habits. And that's one of the reasons that there's so much disappointment at pretty much the end of every year. It's simply because you weren't committed to your habits enough. So I want that to be the buzzword for you all year. I want you to focus on how can I turn this activity into a habit? And there are internal habits as well as external habits. There are habits around making phone calls and the activities that you actually do, but there's a habit around the way you talk to yourself. There's a habit around the way you feel. There's a habit around the state of mind that you create every single day. There's a habit around the way that you show up in your business. So all of those habits are going to combine to create a certain recipe. And the recipe that you're committed to is what's going to determine where you are July 1st of 2017. It's not going to be your willpower. It's not going to be your motivation. It's not going to be how badly you want it or how long you've been in Mary Kay or any of that kind of stuff that trips so many consultants and directors up. It's only going to be determined by the habits that you follow over the next 11 months. Now, if you've heard me train on creating habits as well as just personal development and business development in general, you know that there are 5 elements to a success team, right? Most people don't have all of these 5 elements. The elements are having a mentor, somebody in Mary Kay that's done what you've done so you can sort of glean from her experience, having a private coach, and those 2 are not the same. None of these 5 are the same. They're different, completely different actually. Having a private coach, somebody who is, you know, certified as a professional coach, you're paying them, that creates a different relationship with the mentor. Number 3 is live events. Most of you have that, okay, you're going to your weekly events, you're going to seminar, career conference, leadership, etc. The 4th one is an accountability partner, somebody you talk to on a daily basis that holds you accountable and you hold yourself accountable in front of them. And the 5th one is a mastermind group. Now this 5th one is something, you know, I talk about all the time, but very rarely have I ever explained in depth what a good mastermind does. What's the function of it? What's the process, etc. And I've actually never facilitated a mastermind before, but it's one of the most critical pieces. And so we just recently, actually, at the end of our last Ignite Your Breakthrough program, we just recently committed to facilitating 2 masterminds this year. So what I want to tell you about is an invitation you might want to take advantage of if you're serious about creating habits and you're serious about doing what's going to work and setting yourself up to succeed and putting all 5 of those components in, or as many of those 5 as possible. This is one of the things that will give you 2 of these components, right? So it's a private Mary Kay mastermind. I will be leading it and facilitating it. So it'll be me and a small group of people. As I said, it's brand new. I've only done it with one other client and her her unit, and it went amazingly well, right? And so we're going to take that model and apply it to, you know, and open it up to our entire community of directors and consultants. There's actually going to be 2 different masterminds. We're going to do one mastermind with only consultants and one mastermind with only directors, because as much as there's going to be crossover in terms of some things that directors need to do are also the things that consultants need to do, there's plenty of separation because you're just at a different level, you're dealing with different circumstances, etc. So we're separating these 2 masterminds, right, according to position. You'll get 3 months of coaching and support from me. As I've just talked about for the last 15 minutes, the whole focus is on habits of success, your personal habits of success. Because these are small groups, I can give you personal attention. I can't do that when there's 250 people in Ignite Your Breakthrough, and there's 500 people in the last group that we did. I don't remember what the title of it was. So I can't do that when there's so many people in a group. But this is going to be limited to around a dozen people or so. And so there's going to be a lot more personal interaction with you and I if you participate. And there's also going to be personal attention. So I can take each one of the people and have different focus points, different targets for each individual person. And it's just something, you know, that you just can't do in a bigger group. The way we're structuring it is every other week we'll get on the phone and we'll do 90-minute phone calls. If any of our calls only last 90 minutes, it'll be the first ever in my career. So I'm sure they'll go a little bit longer, at least than 90 minutes, but I want you to plan for 90 minutes. That gives us plenty of time to do some group work. I'll teach a few concepts. Maybe we'll have some interaction. We'll do some accountability in a group setting, but then we'll also do individual attention. So we'll have love seats or hot seats where I will do one-on-one coaching in the group environment. And it'll just be you and I, basically, when you have a love seat. And we'll just coach as though you were on the phone with me, you know, doing a private coaching call, right? We'll handle whatever's going on internally, habit-wise, time management, anything at all. My philosophy in coaching is that there is no one way to teach a bunch of people to succeed, right? If you want what you want in your life, you need to put yourself under a microscope. We need to take a look at the beliefs that you have, the patterns that you have, all of the things that are unique and personal to you. And so in this setup, because there's so few people, we'll be able to do that as well. Accountability, I just mentioned, it's the secret sauce of achievement. And I'm going to teach you how to use accountability in a very positive and empowering way. Because a lot of people experience accountability as though I, as the leader, let's say, am going to give you something to do, and if you don't do it, then shame on you, right? Or you, as the participant, will create the guilt and shame internally, even if it's not me as the leader doing it. But for most people, accountability is not a fun process. It's not healthy. It doesn't help them succeed. They pretty quickly decide that this isn't fun. They don't want to do it anymore. And so then they suffer because there's no accountability built into their, into their development, right? So we're going to have positive accountability. It'll be empowering. I'm going to do everything I can to make it fun. We're going to have individual accountability, so you'll be paired up with one other person in the mastermind, as well as group accountability. And it's what I'm going to facilitate and teach you in this mastermind is everything that I possibly can that I've learned over the last 11 years or so in my own personal development journey of what it takes to actually succeed. What does it take to create a breakthrough? What does it take to create these habits? What does it take to go to the next level? What does it take to work on your beliefs? What does it actually take to succeed? And I'm going to be 100% honest. Most people aren't doing what it takes. Most people don't even understand what it takes. And if they understand it, they don't do it, right? So this mastermind is for people who are serious. This is not a place that you're going to be able to just hide, right? In a group of 200, 500 people, it's easy to just hide and show up on the calls every once in a while. Nobody knows that you're not doing your work, and you can just kind of hang out in the background. That's not this. If that's the way you want to continue playing and you want to keep getting the results that you're getting by playing that way in your business, then this is not for you. This is for people who are ready to do something different, who are ready to step forward, ready to play a bigger game in life as well as Mary Kay. That's why we're creating it the way we're creating it. I said it's limited to 12 participants. You're going to have some of the private coaching elements here because of the way we structured it. And the investment in this program is less than 1/10 of the rate that I would choose, that people pay me, that my clients pay me to do the private coaching. Now, obviously, it's not the exact same thing because it's not only you and I on the phone, but as of right now, it's really the only way to do that private coaching with me. I don't have any slots that we've opened up. So the investment is really low in terms of comparison to be able to get this, intimate attention and do what needs to be done and have the attention paid to you specifically. And the other thing is we're going to focus on the difference between the doing work and the being work, right? Most people only focus on the doing part. Skincare classes, making phone calls, what to say when people say they don't have any money, how to overcome objections. And that's great. That's an important element. But what's way more important and what's going to determine your success more is your being. It's the inner game. It's your beliefs. It's your expectations. It's your mindset. It's your head talk. It's the energy that you show up with at your meetings, in a warm chatting conversation, everywhere in your business. That being part is what's going to make the difference, so that when you do the actions, they will be felt differently with your prospects. You'll feel differently. You'll have a better magnet, right? You'll be attracting people differently because your beingness will be in a different spot, right? So we're going to focus on both of those two things. We're going to focus even a little bit more on the being part. And my intention for your experience through this mastermind is nothing short of you having the best year you could possibly imagine over the next 11 months in Mary Kay. That we handle what we need to handle at the foundational level. We deal with anything that we need to deal with at the surface level. And we set you up from go, right? From now, and build something over the next 11 months with long-term focus, to where if you follow these habits, you can't underachieve, right? So that's the structure of the mastermind. We have 2 sections, as I said, 2 different masterminds. We've got one for consultants. We do those in the evenings. Those start August 9th. We have another one for directors, which starts the next day on August 12th. The directors, since there's many more directors who are just doing Mary Kay full-time, we're actually doing these during the day. So we're starting those at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. The consultants, we're starting those in the evening. We're doing those at 6 p.m. Pacific time, because I know there's a lot more consultants who still have day jobs, etc. The days vary. So if you have a unit meeting on Tuesdays, You're not always going to bump into that conflict, right? So we'll shift the times around for Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So you'll be able to catch as many as possible. You'll have archives if you aren't able to get on any of the calls. We're going to set up the program the best way we know how in order for you to win, basically, right? The investment for the mastermind, there's two options. The first option is if you want to do it all in full, it's $497. You'll save a little bit of money that way. The other option is if you want to do a payment plan, it's $179 times 3. And the way I want you to think about it is, what if you just learned 1 or 2 small things over the course of 3 days, or 3 months rather, with my help and my coaching and my facilitation, what you're going to learn from the other people in the mastermind. What if you just learned 1 or 2 things that changes the course in your Mary Kay business? And over the next 11 months, you implemented some of these foundational principles and shifted your energy, or shifted the way that you close your facials and that you close your skincare classes. What would that do in your business over the course of 11 months? What would it do over the course of the next 5 years, right? And what you have to do as a business owner is think, will that give you more of a return than $500 basically? And if it will, then it's a good business decision. I want you to think about this as a business decision. I don't want you to think about this as like you're buying a handbag or something, right? Like this isn't just an expense that you're not going to get anything back from. My goal is that inside the 3 months of this mastermind, you've made all of this money and more back from what you've learned and the things that I've helped you shift in your life and become more productive, more efficient, etc. And then from that point forward, you're just continuing to add more and more revenue into your business. You're feeling better. I want your relationships to be better. I want this to be a holistic improvement in your life. So that's how you've got to think about it from a financial perspective. And you also have to ask the question, what if I don't? Versus what most people ask is, what if I do? Most people have a fundamental opposition to taking action. What I mean by that is, whenever somebody has an opportunity to take action, especially when money's involved, like in this case, most people ask themselves, what if I do this? What are the negative consequences that are possible if I take action? And so then your mind will come up with all these negative possibilities, right? What if I lose money? What if it doesn't work? What if it feels awkward? What if I have guilt or shame? Or what if I lose out on this? Or what if I lose out on that? And you all know that the only way to achieve more in your life is by taking action. So you cannot be fundamentally opposed to taking action and get your goals and dreams at the same time. Those cannot live together. So I want you to ask a better question. What if I don't take action? That's what the most successful people ask. If I don't take action on my dreams, if I don't invest this money into this program, whether it's my program or anybody else's program, it doesn't matter. I want you to think about this way when it comes to investing time, energy, or money into anything. I want you to think, what if I don't do it? Is it possible for me to make a fundamental change in my life if I don't make any changes in my habits? And the answer to that, if you're honest with yourself, will always be no. So if you want to make a fundamental change in your life, if you want to change the results, if you want to get closer to your goals or actually achieve your goals, you must make changes in your habits. You cannot have it both ways. You cannot stay comfortable and follow all the old habits that you have and get better results just miraculously because you want to more now. Or now you are motivated more. You're just sitting in this big, gigantic swimming pool of willpower. It doesn't work that way. So you have to choose. What are you more committed to? Are you more committed to doing what is necessary to succeed? Or are you more committed to not, to not wasting money or to not wasting time? Or are you more committed to being comfortable? However you answer those questions will determine your success in life, will determine your success in your relationships, and in this case, it will determine your success in Mary Kay. So if this is a hell yes for you, you know this is one of the missing pieces for you, then jump in. The way that you can jump in is you've got to go to, you probably need to send them the Pink Caddie Hangout, right? Go to Mastermind with Sean. Go to pinkcaddiecoach.com/mastermind with Sean. There's 2 ways you can do it. If you're on the Hangout page right now, there's a button that showed up and you can just click the button that says claim my seat or join or something like that. Perfect. So you can go to pinkcaddiehangout.com and it'll be right there. The button takes like 5 minutes to show up. So if you're not on there now, you go there. got to wait for a few minutes for it to show up. Or you go to peakcaddiecoach.com. I'll write it up here. /mastermind with Sean, but the mastermind with Sean has dashes in it. So peakcaddiecoach.com /mastermind with Sean. Okay? peakcaddiecoach.com /mastermind with Sean. So if you have any questions, you can type them in, whether you're on Facebook or Periscope or you're on the page here, you can put it in the comment section. I'm going to end the video because I'm late for one of my private coaching clients, so I'm going to go, but we'll answer whatever questions we possibly can. You can send an email if you want. Jump in if you're going to jump in. As of the recording of this video, we're going to start in a week from now. We start the consultants in a week from now. The consultants has how many spots? Like only 3 or 4 spots?
Yeah.
Okay, the consultants mastermind has 3 or 4 spots. The director mastermind as of right now has 9 or 10 spots. Not a whole lot of people have jumped in yet, but we haven't sent it out to our whole community as we are doing now. So if it's for you, fantastic. There's a guarantee on it as well. If you don't like the first call, it's not everything that you wanted it to be, just let us know. We'll give you a full money back guarantee. So hopefully this has been valuable. If you don't jump into the mastermind, then listen to what I said about habits. Make sure that that is what you're focusing on with your coach. And it shouldn't be a question of if you have a coach or not. The only question is who's your coach. So make sure that you put that into play. If you're going to play with us, if you're going to join us for the mastermind, then I look forward to helping you implement the habits that are going to mandate the success and the achievement of your goals in the future. So with that, everyone, take care. We'll come to you with another video or article or audio or whatever soon. And now we've got to end all these devices.